see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. All right, I can hear it. I can hear it. Can you guys hear it? I can hear it. Hello. Thank you for joining me so quickly. It's very nice of you. I'm doing good. Took the dogs for a walk today. Doing my thing. Contacted somebody about making a video about one of their products. Which I got a positive response from them, so it's very cool. Looking forward to that. Okay, so and then I got up early this morning because this Turkey war thing, Turkey's invading Syria, which it seems like in itself just Turkey crossing into Syria. Turkey crossing the Syrian border seems like a major no-no. That should, it's like the U.S. military crossing into Mexico or Canada, without their permission, just rolling over the border stops. It's not. It doesn't seem. I don't know. I hate war. I hate war. I don't see the purpose of war. It seems like it's just training ground to make terrorists, and it certainly doesn't make less terrorists. War doesn't seem to stop anybody, except for the military-industrial complex. Then they're happy. They have their war. They stop all this little side shit that's like meant to make war happen. Not really stop it, because it keeps spreading. War keeps spreading. There's just keeps popping up its ugly head everywhere. And it'd be really good if we could move beyond that. Yeah, like when Israel bombs Lebanon. That's like, I on my backpack I wear a Lebanese flag on my backpack. It's called the cedar. It's a flag, the flag of Lebanon, and it's called the cedar. It has a tree on it. It's a beautiful flag, and I wear it everywhere I go. Well, whenever I take my backpack out, and any kind of a thing where I'm gone from the house for more than a couple hours, I take my backpack, and it has the flag of Lebanon on it. So and I've been wearing it since 2007. So and it's because of Israel bombing Lebanon. That's the reason I wear that flag. That, and because some of my friends are Lebanese. Some my best friends are Lebanese, and when Israel bombed Lebanon in 2007, it really ripped my heart in half, like you don't even know. But we're talking about Turkey and Syria right now, and we don't have to talk about that. But that's just what's happening now. And the reason that I'm a little bit late today, I said we're going to try and do a call-in show every day. I'm trying to figure out with the time. We're kind of feeling it out right now. And the reason I'm late today is because my West Coast people were like, hey, man, what are you doing? They're like, this is way too early. Okay? Millions of people cannot get to enjoy your show live because it's way too early. So I was like, okay, well, we'll push it back a little bit. So maybe we'll start at 5 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock from now on. That'll be the plan. We'll start at 5 o'clock, and then we'll run for however long there's callers. Did I mention this is a call-in show? I didn't mention that, did I? That's why you're not calling, huh? Hey, how's it going, Oscar? Atlanta. I hear it's hot there right now. You guys legalize weed down there yet? What's the deal with that, Oscar? You should get on that, man. Hey, Ruben. Okay, so again, it is a call-in show. He's not going to allow them what? Got me sidetracked, Dave. The pentagram. Oh. Well, you know, I think that the people who have the money are the ones who don't allow them. If you start cutting the Pentagon money, well, we've seen what happens when you start cutting the Pentagon money. The minute you start cutting Pentagon money, there's a major terrorist event in the United States. And they're like, oh no, we can't cut Pentagon money anymore. Even though they just fucked up and let a major terrorist event happen in the United States, we have to triple the Pentagon budget. Even though the day before the major terrorist event happens, the Pentagon reports that they can't say we're $1 trillion. They have misplaced $1 trillion, which they can't account for on their books at all. You know, and then there's a major terrorist event. And it's like, oh no, the Pentagon needs more money because they do such great work protecting us. But I'm sidetracked again. So I'm saying is fuck the Pentagon. It's not up to the Pentagon. You know, it's supposed to be up to the Congress. The Congress is completely neutered. There's no one there who stands up to the Pentagon in any way, shape, or form. No one in the media who stands up to the Pentagon in any way, shape, or form. In fact, anything that comes out of the Pentagon is treated like it's gospel straight from God, right? And so, which is beyond ridiculous because we all know that they lied us into Iraq. You know, I mean, lies created in the Pentagon, lies created in the White House, lies completely unchallenged by the media, totally fabricated bullshit that everybody's running around screaming, this is totally fabricated bullshit. And no one questioned them. And now we're supposed to just believe the Pentagon. You know, the last thing the media ever does is question one thing that the Pentagon says, or Israel for that matter. Beyond idiotic. I mean, it's just, and that's the reason that the news is actually the fake news. Not because they say shit about Donald Trump that's not true, because they don't tell you, they don't do their job, which is to hold the Pentagon accountable when they speak bullshit, to hold the government accountable when it's fucking, you know, spending our money based on lies and complete fabrication. And they don't, and that's why it's fake news. And Donald Trump never talks about that. You know, Donald Trump, the only time it's ever fake news is when they're talking about Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump, you know, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the media, and the media helping to spread the lies of the Pentagon and the powers that be, you know, whether it be the State Department or the for-profit medical industrial complex. You know, they just spread lies and spread lies, and this is the real problem with where the world and America and society, Western civilization as a whole, goes wrong. This is it. Is it we look to these people, we look to the medical people to be like a guiding light, like a beacon. Okay, we have this horrible problem happen, we need help, and we look to them like these pure angels who are going to give mercy and give us help. And if you can't afford it, number one, you don't get it, and number two, they're just like witch doctors. They're like guessing at what they're supposed to do to make you better. And it's disgusting. It's almost like you're not a person. You're just like another case study, and this worked on that case study, so it'll work on this case study too. But that's not just it. It's not just the medical industrial complex. It's also the police. The police are supposed to be the heroes, the ones that we turn to feel safe in our own homes. and they're full of shit. They lie. They're like professional liars. You know, they put their hand on the Bible and say, "I swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth," and then they spew bullshit. And we all have seen it, and we all know it. And then there's the politicians, the people we're supposed to trust, the people who, again, who are supposed to be fighting for us, the people who are supposed to look up to as like as bastions of like, of protecting our freedom and making sure America's place in the world is a noble place, that we're not laughed at and ridiculed by the rest of the world. And if something goes wrong, like September 11th, we're supposed to investigate that and let people know it happens. That's what the government's supposed to be about. And it's been anything but that. It's just this nanny state that wants to put one rule after another on your freedom, like somehow your freedom is a threat, is a direct threat to them. But we're supposed to be talking about Syria and Turkey, but this is the problem. This is where we're at in the world, is that there's no real fucking rules. Like I said at the beginning, it seems like it's not just a matter of Turkey going in to slaughter a U.S. ally that has stood by us since the war on Iraq began. The Kurds have been there helping the United States make happen whatever it was the United States were making happen. Because basically we just made a fucking giant shithole out of the Middle East, but the Kurds were there. They were like, okay, you got to pick a side, and they were there with us. And now we're not there for them. But it's beyond that. It just seems like, Turkey going into Syria seems like a horror, but everybody's gone into Syria, right? Everybody's going into Syria. I guess that's what you do if you're a fucking superpower. You go into Syria, man. If you don't go into Syria, you can't be a real superpower, right? The world just gone to this fucked up place, man. And I just, I just want to talk about it. I just want us to have a conversation. So that's why I'm coming out here and I'm doing these live shows. I'm going to come out here every day, 5 days a week, 4 days a week, and do these live shows so that you guys, because YouTube is censoring us all. YouTube has I bet you from 2010 YouTube to 2019 YouTube, I bet you there's less commenting going on than ever before, because that's how shitty the management at YouTube is, because of shitty YouTube management. Not giving a damn, not listening to the people that they're supposed to be serving, and only caring about what their advertisers want and what makes them more money. But I think we can step beyond the YouTube censorship if we do this call-in show thing, right? If we do it on a regular basis and we begin to build up an audience where it's like, hey, Mike's doing a call-in show, we got to get over there and get, because, as I get better at it and all that. But one of the things that I don't really see happening on YouTube is a regular call-in show. And I think that's really missing from the YouTube. I think that's especially now with YouTube trying to quiet the voices with Google having, I bet you the commenting is like half of what it was in 2010. I know that it started to slow down around the end of the Obama administration, because I don't know, people got so angry at the end of the Obama administration. That's what I saw happen. And it may just be that I was focused more on the anger then. But we're supposed to be talking about Syria and Turkey. But it really just boils down to this whole thing that you know, the government, the people in authority, they don't really give a shit, you know, about any of us. They don't give a shit about any of us. They care about, you know, their little special pet projects, but they don't really care about us. And that's why we need to come together, which is why YouTube has shut the commenting down so much, because the more we interact with each other, the more we're going to come together.
So you need to press 1 to take this call.
I pressed 1. Hello, caller.
Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis. No, I'm just kidding. This is Matt from yesterday when I called in.
Hey, Matt, how are you today?
Hey, we're friggin', sorry, just trying to lighten up the conversation and such. But,
am I being too serious? Am I being too serious? Am I being too serious?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, but to get, you know, you're being you. You know, it's a conversation. You know, and the thing is, it's serious talk, but you know, it's just getting the discussion going. You know, it's not. You know, you're being welcomed, and at the same time, you know, you're doing a balancing act. You know, trying to welcome people while being assertive.
I'm trying to just be clear where I'm at and why we're doing this and what it is that I'd like to be making happen.
Well, the thing is, you know, it's about utilizing the platform to, you know, taking it back over. If we can't take back over, you know,
exactly.
take YouTube back over, then how can we, you know, fix the world and such? And it's about working within our community, and that's why anyone that's you know that uses YouTube, even just as a subscriber, you know, as a viewer and such, not even a creator. The thing is that they're, you know, we're all being affected by these the censorship that's going on.
Right, Matt. You were saying yesterday that YouTube is censoring comments that you make on your own channel.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And just like I tried sending you a link because after I got off the phone with you, I was showing you that like you were still in a live chat and everything, like still had your thing going on, but you weren't. Usually they put the live things right at the top of your subscription.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, this is what's going on now, and I couldn't find you in mine, even though you were still going on. And you know, and that's what I'm saying is that like when there's too much truth and stuff, like they're just trying to, you know, keep the smart going out there. And you know, nothing against PewDiePie and stuff. I mean, it's a freaking you know,
he's a living legend, man.
System and stuff too.
He's a living legend, dude. He's a living legend.
Oh yeah, you know, and like he is, like without him there would be no YouTube. I mean, essentially, and I'm not saying that, you know, I mean, because I'm not really big into his content and stuff like altogether. Altogether, like I respect him and like I pay attention to him. You know, he does some you know, big things, and just for being so, you know, a video gamer and stuff, he made like watching video games cool. You know, and like not even playing the video games anymore. It's just watching someone else play that. You know, he really, you know, he's raised the culture. And, you know, like that's what's so important about South Park and stuff, because, you know, like they just came out with an episode in regards to the NBA, you know, apologizing to China and stuff. And, oh man, you know, I was able to catch the bootleg of that. And that's what it comes down to. Like we need to, you know, really just stand up for our freedoms, and the internet needs to be protected. And it takes a global effort. It's our mind. And what's happening is we created the Google and we created the YouTube because it's like that's what people are thinking. And yeah, there's trends and this, that, and the other. And what people, you know, realize is like, hey, we can control the trends. We can, you know, drive consumerism. You know, just like there's a new thing out with, you know, Fortnite being, you know, addictive and stuff. And it's like, oh, you're now just realizing that video games, like a lot of the new ones that are coming out, are pay to play. And like that casino developers are making the games. It's like it's all about programming. And it's all about distractions. That's why
it's been about programming for a long time, though. I mean, that's why they call television programming.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And why they start burning the book. Hitler burned the books. Why they're in the Dark Ages. I actually made a comment about this. Like, they're trying to put us back into the Dark Ages. You're talking about.
It seems
it's about pay to play. It doesn't matter what your sins are. If you have enough money, you get yourself out of that problem.
Right. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Then there's guys that are, trying to pay, child support and, survive. Then they get locked up because they're back behind in their child support because, they're having a hard time, like, it's not an easy role and such.
It's a very difficult struggle. Life is like a never-ending tragedy almost.
It definitely is. But to go with the topic at hand with the with Turkey going into Syria and stuff, from what I've seen is that this is actually part of a bigger deal. And it comes down to the Javelin missile, and that we've started selling a lot of those things because it's like it's instead of like the AK-47, it's the it's AK-47 equivalent. Only like the AK-47 is good for personnel versus the Javelin is like the AK-47 for vehicles and tanks and such. It's a very powerful weapon. And excuse me, and we're doing mass production of those. And the thing is that Turkey is getting involved, with mass infrastructure developments. So they're creating mobilization and such. They're going to be part of the largest oil refinery. What's happening in Syria is that it's basically a junction with for a pipeline, and I was Operation Iraqi Freedom, but I always tell people it's Operation Iraqi Liberation, the war for oil and whatnot. And the thing is that they try to create this illusion. Remember peak oil? Do you remember peak oil?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to peak oil? Like that was a big fear, and now all of a sudden, oh, we found this deposit, we found this deposit, we found this deposit, and blah 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 blah. And they create the fear, and then they try to sell you the solution.
They're constantly pushing fear. The fear never ends. I mean, it's
terrorism. Terrorism is political.
That's not just terrorism. It's how am I going to pay my bills next month? It's it's a police state that's ever there waiting for you to fuck up. It's just one thing after another, man. It's not just the terrorists. I mean, for a long time they were like the terrorists, but you don't hear the terrorists very much anymore.
But I'm not talking about like with the like with the Taliban or Islamic State or whatever else. I'm just saying like it's terrorism because we're wage slaves. You look up like I dare people to go on go find your birth certificate and go on the internet and look up how to find your birth certificate on the stock exchange and find out how much your birth certificate's being traded for. I tell you, you find it at Wells Fargo. It's your customer number and whatnot.
Huh.
And and that's the thing that we're all wage slaves and whatnot. Like we've been bought and sold a long time ago. We're all corporate entities, and this isn't getting into like the common law. Like it kind of is, but not to the extent that like some people go. But it just kind of talks about. Like, I mean, that's the thing is that, like, what's the dollar? The dollar is representation of our time and labor. We can't go up to a tree, give it $1 and be like, give me an apple because, the tree doesn't appreciate it. It takes time and labor for that tree to produce that apple. And then, the thing is that, we harvest them and then we, collect money, we try to exchange. Money is a tool. And the thing is that tools been used against us. It's that money is not like, evil in itself. The thing is that, the greed of money, believing that money is, like more than it actually is. That's the evil part of it.
Money's tricky, man. Money changes everything, you know. People change overnight because all of a sudden they have money, you know. It's really it's like the solution, and yet it's also the reason for all the problems, you know, because everything's got to be about making money. It's not about making money. Oh, well, then why the fuck are we going to clean up all this giant plastic ocean, you know, this giant sea of plastic that's in the ocean? Where's the money in that? Give me a break, you know.
Well, you know, like the thing is, like money should be obsolete. If it wasn't for current capitalism, like we still need to go through capitalism because we fucked it up the first time. Pardon my mouth, but yeah, because too many crony capitalists got in the way. And the thing is that we should be transitioning, you know, from we shouldn't be using the same tool, you know, which is, you know, currency and stuff. We should be, you know, we have all this technology and stuff, but it's been suppressed.
Right.
Just like back in the, what was it, like the you know, the 19 teens and the 1920s and stuff. There was the streetcars, the electric streetcars. And then they were all bought up and sold because, like, you know, stored away to the junkyard because they were impeding the petroleum industry. You know, the Model T was coming out in the mass production of automobiles, and you know, then all of a sudden there was need for gas station mechanics, and then there was you know, parts and you know tires.
I've said we need to start planning for the 21st century. We need to start beginning to make a 21st century world. Otherwise, you know, this species is done. That's the fact. So,
well, you know, when I've been looking up Antarctica a lot, and you know, there's very, you know, a bunch of puzzling things about it. And one thing that I could, almost conclusively say is that it is part of the United Nations. And being that Antarctica is, I mean, essentially, it's a pizza pie, you know, and I think everyone has a sliver. And that, or like people that help with expeditions and people who are in the good and stuff. And the thing is, you know, like I was saying yesterday and stuff, you know, you look up how scientists want to use atomic energy to expedite the melting of Antarctica. And
they're not trying to stop. They're not trying to stop global warming. By the way, no, the corporations want global warming. So we're all clear.
Well, global warming was happening. Like this is what scientists knew back in the 40s and such. Is that that the melting of the ice sheets was happening, and what people don't realize is that glaciers are the remnants of the ice age.
Right.
Glaciers are not supposed to be there and such. But that happened from the ice age. Like the Earth was supposed to be much, much warmer. And the thing is that we should be utilizing this energy, and we should be happy about this. Like, but the thing is that they suppress a lot of the free energy. And what I mean by free energy is, you know, essentially like the Stirling engine. I'm not too certain if you're familiar with that, but it's a heat engine, and it works off the differential of heat of air pressure. And so you can, you know, essentially, they have Stirling engines that work off coffee pumps, you know, hot coffee and such.
Yeah.
And so if we have, you know, this means and whatnot, we should be collecting this heat, and we should be turning that into, you know, because what is it that we're always after as human beings? It's energy. And the thing is, when we have this,
It's pussy. Come on, dude. It's pussy. We're always after pussy. You know that's what it is.
Well, that's the only reason why the wheel got invented is because freaking,
Exactly.
you know, there was a guy with bigger muscles than freaking the geek, and he was like, "Well, you know what, you know," and that's why we have britches, and you know, and then you know, who can swing the rock furthest, and you know, yeah. I mean, like that's the thing is like the women drive technology. They really do. I think it's guys like
porno built the internet, man.
Well, okay, so like you're 100% right on that. So 3 things to pay attention to if you're going to be investing the money, or like, you know, investing in things. It's pornography, video games, and sports. What do they all have in common? Male disposable income. You know, those are the 3 driving factors of technology and freaking, of like, I mean, just really everything and such. It's the male disposable income. And like, I don't mean to be sounding like chauvinistic and stuff like that, but, or, like, I don't mean to sound like a freaking, too much of a guy when I say that, but I mean, like, that is a fact. It's not like
it's either that or it's some kind of drugs like coffee or cigarettes or alcohol,
Well, I mean, hey, like then we start getting to the top five because, I mean, we start talking about like alcohol. I mean, like, we start getting into the dosages.
Yeah.
So,
vices.
Looking for the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, so yeah, what are your thoughts on like the whole Syria thing?
I don't really know, man. Fucking, it seems like Turkey just kind of, out of the blue, all of a sudden decide that they're going to roll into Syria. Like I said, for me, it seems like just them crossing the border is this huge thing. I mean, it's whether or not they fucking, commit genocide against the Kurdish people in that region is another, war crime to discuss. But crossing that border doesn't seem like, I mean, I don't think Syria exactly invited them in, did they?
Well, what happened is like, okay, so from like I've been like looking at this a little bit more and stuff because this is a big piece of the puzzle and stuff. And just like I was saying yesterday about the heavier air attacks, in Afghanistan and everything like that. There's some serious chess pieces moving around. And there's a lot of we're in a very cold era, the Cold War era time, because we see a lot of displays of military might and whatnot, and that's what's kind of nerve wracking. And the thing is, we see the weaponization of the Northern already, and I mean, because like part of like I mean, like, yeah, because there's a resource war going on over there. And then in China. Or like in Africa, China that's buying up like rivers and the rights to rivers and a lot of resources and such. Basically corrupting the entire country. And I mean, Syria is just we should never get involved in the Middle East. It's the Mesopotamia is where the dawn of civilization started. We've been at war ever since. I was in Samarra, Iraq, and that was pretty much right in the breadbasket there of Mesopotamia. And that was the thing. It's like, I actually, repeated what one of my officers said was, this place has been at war since, civilization started here, and and there was war then, and there's still war now. Once we leave, it's going to go right back to that. We see all the Iraqi protests and everything that's going on, and people dying and things being injured, and it was just like mass chaos. And it's like no matter we made things so much worse by getting involved, and it was like, was it intentional for us to destabilize the the Middle East? Like what else is there? Because like that whole place has been at war for God knows how long, and the big thing is too Israel. And I'm an anti-Semitic.
That's got to be part of the whole plan because it seems to be like,
right.
I mean, it seems to be like that has a lot to do with when the whole problem in the Middle East started. When I mean, you want to say it started way back when, and at the beginning of time or whatever, but.
Well, look at Israel in itself. Break it down. IS. That's short for Mother Isis. Goes back to Egypt, just like Ra. It's Ra. Mother Isis.
Yeah.
The sun god for the deities and whatnot. It all goes back to Egypt, and even further than that, the story that's been told. And that's the thing is that these people are. I mean, you want to talk about a cult and whatnot. I mean, and it's like, how did it, so many people come to, 6 million people died during the genocide. They're, in control of all the money. And, they're in control of, like, all the media and stuff. Like, did they sell out their own people? Is that like what happened? I mean, like, like, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, and like I said, I'm not anti-Semitic and whatnot. I mean, my family was, displaced during, World War One and Two. So, like,
Yeah, no, look,
it's
Matt, you
pretty
did,
strong.
hey, look, you did your service, dude. You can sound like what you want to sound like, and I don't think that you sound like anti-Semitic at all. I haven't even heard you use the word Jew or Jewish. So there, it's not, you're not anti-Semitic in my opinion. Speaking out against Israel,
Hell, I think
speaking out against
stuff
speaking
is,
out against Israel is not anti-Semitic.
no, I mean, well, that's the thing. You say, like, when did the truth become a crime? And like that's like the real question right now. Is like, when did the truth become a crime? And like, how can we not have discussion about things? And and that's what they've done is they've weaponized words, and it's like, it, it, they've created trigger words, and so, and like, that's part of the program. It's just like when you hear like a conspiracy, like, oh, that's a conspiracy theorist, and then all of a sudden you dismiss them because you think of a
Right. Well, this is
UFO and
well, Matt,
right?
Matt, this is what I've been saying,
like,
Matt,
you don't realize.
Matt. This is what I've been saying for the entire time. Every time I come out here live, as I say, we have to get rid of these labels. Okay. The only reason that you say conspiracy theorist or liberal or conservative or nut job or wacko, whatever label it is you want to attach to someone, the sole purpose of that label is so that now you can disregard everything that they're saying.
Right. And James Chappelle, like, I'm more certain probably, you've seen it and stuff. Like, when James Chappelle was, talking about some of, the secrets of Hollywood and whatnot. And he's like, one of the worst things to do is call someone crazy. It's dismissive. And maybe you're, like, you're the one's crazy, but the world is and such. I didn't do it complete justice there, but, like, there's some people that speak out about it. And, to like go, okay, so Hollywood in itself, because we were talking about television programming and how they tell us especially what they want us to think and stuff. Hollywood, oh well, that's what the wood that a witch's pond is made out of. And coincidentally enough, you have a cast that read a bunch of spellings, from their script. And the thing is the spellcasters. And the thing is, to create the suspension of disbelief. And if enough people believe in a lie, then it becomes the truth. And like, that's how easy magic happens. And then there might be some more complicated forms of it, but lying is a magic. You're creating a false truth, false reality.
Well, that's interesting concept. I haven't heard that before.
Hey, I mean, like, it's a study of words, man. Like I said, you have a cast, that reads a script of spellings. So they're spellcasters, and they're creating an illusion.
Yeah.
For, and then through that time frame,
yeah,
we're kind of under hypnosis because we're, just being entertained in this ritual, in this dance, in this theatrical performance. And like, that's how easily things can happen, and it can,
I love turkey.
A lot more stuff than that. But I mean, like, that's the tip of the iceberg. Like, people just like, they think that they know things, but at the same time, it's like, no, like, I've had a lot of time on my hands, and I've been able to research a lot of crazy crap, and because I was a complete skeptic at first. Oh my goodness! Like, I didn't even believe it. I mean, when I was 18 when 9/11 happened, I was in geometry class in my senior year of high school, and knew that Flight 93 was shot down. I do. I mean, I come from military background, my family and stuff like that, and it's like, the thing is, also just watching, history buff and stuff like that, and science and shit, and you chop off the finger to save the hand from the infection, or else, what's a few towards a lot. It's one of those moral decisions you have to make. At the same time, there might have been, that was the rabbit hole that really brought me down things because uh, essentially my entire life that was being prepped for changed. When I was 18, and overnight everything changed. Like I was getting ready to go to the real world, and like it was 2001 and whatnot, and yeah, I mean like
Were you playing
yeah,
video
things
games then?
just took a different turn.
Were you playing
And
video? Were you playing video games then?
oh, I mean, I still play video games now. I'm actually beginning to playing Kinetic Conquer General 0 Hour. Beginning to that, trying to cut loose and shit like that. But
But I mean, in 2001, were you playing video games?
oh yeah,
What do you remember? What kind?
oh it was PS1. Like PS1, or maybe PS2 was already out. I didn't have it. No, my friend just got for graduating.
So
I was
Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that.
Well, we played a lot of wrestling games and such.
You play that?
Played
You play that Dead or
like
Dead or Alive? You ever play that? It was a kung fu game.
General lot. No, I can't say I played that one. Like I thought that was more of like shootout one.
No, it's kung fu. It's good. I like that game.
But,
Damn, man, this is pissing me off right now. This is a fucking interview with Mike Pompeo, and my fucking my screen is all digitizing while he's talking during part of it. That's kind of shit that really pisses me off, man. All right, Matt. So
it's the Russians.
yeah, you got. Well, I don't think so, but it's somebody. I'm pretty sure it's somebody. All right, Matt. Well, it's good to hear from you, man. I'm glad that you called in tonight. I hope that we.
I appreciate it. You're like, it's I'm going off like in a million different directions. I'd like you to keep up, and that's pretty cool.
No, I think the call-in show is a good idea. We just have to get a regular time and make it happen. I think it's a good idea.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Before I go, there's just a couple pointers possibly, just constructive criticism. Maybe before you do a call-in show, just, give yourself a piece of paper and just jot down a few points. And that way you kind of, that's one of my things, is like, you can tell when I'm on the phone with you, I don't have anything wrote down, and it's just off the cuff. So like, if you're doing a call-in show, try to be a little bit more like.
Well, once we start working with the OBS, once we start working with the OBS and we have clips and stuff like that to do, right now I'm just trying to get in place a regular flow of shows that is a call-in show. It's not so much I want to have a real structure to it, because then, I'll be like cutting off callers and telling them, no, we're supposed to be talking about this, and what I want to do is I just want to get the ball rolling. I just want to be making it happen, and then, like I said, as I start to work the applications for the video and be able to move clips in and maybe have other guests live on video, then the notes will become much more necessary. So thanks, though.
Well, definitely. I mean,
I've done this a long time, dude. Way before there was a YouTube, I was doing this.
Well, finally, so I'm trying to get myself, a little bit more situated with things as well, and maybe we could do something together, and I'll assemble some stuff and be more organized myself or whatnot. But anyways, keep up the good work, and keep the channel alive.
Yeah,
fuck YouTube. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, let's do something better than YouTube. I mean, let's make YouTube what it was meant to be, which is about the people, and that's what this phone call-in show is going to be about moving forward. It's about us, the people, discussing what we want without the interference of YouTube censorship. Good plan, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like, look at BitChute, by the way.
Yeah, I have a
that's
bit. I have a
something I've,
BitChute page. You can look it up. It's the Mox News BitChute. I have a BitChute page.
Oh, good stuff.
It's not.
Well,
It's,
anyways, it was good chat with you. Have a good one, man.
okay, good to hear from you, Matt. Stay cool, man. All right. So it's a call-in show again, and the reason that I'm doing this is because of what I'm seeing is that what I've always said is that you guys, your voice, the things that you think, the things that you bring to the videos that I post, are really what make Mox News of value. And with all the YouTube censorship that's been going on, hello caller, hold on a second. With all the YouTube censorship that's going on, it seems like this is a way just to bypass the YouTube control and for us to get our voices back and begin the conversation that we have been having at Mox News from the beginning. Hello caller, how are you?
Shalom, Michael Knight. This is Dwayne. How are you doing?
Hey Dwayne, it's good to hear from you, bro.
Hey, it's good to see you, buddy. It's good to see you. And hey, you know what? Do whatever you can to screw YouTube. There's no freedom of speech anymore. So just keep doing these call-in shows.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good way to sidestep their censorship, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. Here in Canada, we got this election, and it's pretty pathetic. The libtards are going to win up here again, and they're silencing all the right-wing media, and it just really, really sucks.
How you mean the YouTube is silencing it?
No, the actual leaders of the two major parties up here, both liberals and conservatives, are arresting journalists that are right wing and everything on rebel media.
They're arresting journalists for what?
For showing up and not even getting into the event. There's a clip on Rebel News here in Canada.
Yeah.
Where a right wing journalist went to the right wing, like the conservative event here, and they actually threw him out because they don't want any of the questions asked of our leaders here. And the CBC and all the left wing media that just controls Canada is just silencing everything that's not libtard, not anything that's just right of center. It's gone completely bonkers up here. And, Prime Minister Trudeau, I'm sure you saw the whole blackface incident he did up here. If any right-winger would have been caught.
Yeah, he would have resigned immediately, pretty much, just to make it go away.
Yep. And no one's even talking about it anymore, and
they talked about it at the debate. They didn't really talk about it, but they brought it up a couple of times.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, the people here in this country, seriously, are so stupid and brainwashed by the CBC that they're just going to forgive our prime minister for whatever he wants to do.
You think my Canadian brothers and sisters are so stupid? Is that right?
Oh yeah, like there's only like seriously, we have 4 libtard parties up here and 1.5 conservative parties. So, like 60% of our population is brain dead. Seriously.
Well, it's just opposite sides of the same coin, Dwayne. We talked about this. I mean, it's they're just talking to different suckers, man. I know you've heard me say that a dozen times before.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I just want to know, all right, should Turkey be allowed to slaughter the Kurds? First of all, months ago, you thought Trump was going to bomb the whole world.
What now?
You should be absolutely happy.
Bombed the whole world. Oh, you mean he was going to invade Iran? No, what I said was that Trump said Barack Obama in 2011 was going to start a war with Iran so he could get reelected. So that's how Trump thinks you get reelected, is you start a war with Iran. So yes, I was terrified he was going to start a war. Well, he sure has brought it about as close as you can get to the brink of doing that, hasn't he? One little stumble and it's about to happen.
He hasn't started a single fight anywhere, and he's pulling the troops out of Syria. And you know what? The United States and
He hasn't pulled
allies.
he hasn't pulled any troops out of Syria. He just repositioned. He just repositioned them so the Kurds could be slaughtered by the Turks.
Kurds done anything for you any time in your life?
From what I understand, they stood with our troops like the best fucking fighters you could ever have to have standing with your troops.
Look, just bring the troops home from all these wars.
I agree with that. You know I agree with that.
Yep, absolutely. And you know, I just thought I'd call in and tell you, like, hey, you know, pull all the troops out everywhere, bring them home, stick them on the southern border of the United States, stick them on the northern border, whatever.
Does Canada have troops? Does Canada have bases all over the world, like all over Africa and Saudi Arabia and stuff like that?
The NYPD has more uniformed officers than the Canadian has military.
I love that. I mean, I hate the NYPD for exactly that reason, but I love Canada for that reason too.
Yeah. Well, we can't protect the North. We can't protect coming over the North.
Protect it from what? The terrorist?
I guess the Russian boogeyman.
The Russians. Right? I don't know. I'm not. Do I sound terrified? I'm not terrified of anybody except for maybe Trump. You know.
Oh, come on! What? You know? Come on! Like seriously, it could be so much worse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Look,
we can't get rid of our libtard tyrant here. We can't get rid of this guy. He can run around and
how is he a tyrant? I mean, I heard what you said about journalists, and that's not right. And I care about that a lot. And I don't think that Trudeau is a decent human being at all.
No.
You know, but he's not. I mean, he legalized weed. You know. Not that you're taking advantage of that or anything, but that doesn't seem like something a tyrant would do.
Well, the provincial government were doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Like we kind of have the whole thing, like, you know, between the federal and you know, states, but here we have the provinces.
Yeah.
The provincial governments were all doing that anyways.
Yeah.
And I was actually going to send you a link to the Ontario Cannabis Store. I was actually thinking about doing this. I'll send you an email in the next couple of days and say, hey, what do you think I should get? You know what I mean?
So, right on. Yeah, go ahead and do that. I'll give you my opinion if you really want.
Awesome. I just wanted to call in and say, hey, keep it up. I know I've kind of been quiet lately, but I've just been busting my ass working like normal people do.
So okay. So Dwayne, what time is the best time to do the call-in show? You think?
9 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, so like
absolutely.
Okay.
Right when you started, right now.
Okay. I think I started about 5:30 or something. I think I started about 5:30, a little bit later than 5:30. But
yeah, you're like 3 hours later, right?
Yeah. So 9 p.m. Eastern then, huh?
Yeah, that's best for me.
Because all my all my West Coast people yesterday were like, dude, what, you know, I don't even get a chance to call in. You're like, this blows, man. You gotta go later. So, and you're saying go later. So it seems like, and other people here are agreeing with you that 9 p.m. Eastern is the correct time. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I know you had a couple of them that were, I think, were like 11:30 Eastern, and you know, like I got to get up in the morning and work, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I just can't do that. You know,
well, you know, I'm not trying to leave you out or anything, Dwayne. You know, I'm just doing my thing.
Oh, no, I totally get that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just appreciate everything you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm still watching everything you put up anyway. Like I get home from work, I check out Mox News. I check out. Fox
Did you see the video today I put up about about pregnant women not getting vaccinated for the whooping cough and the flu?
I saw it. I haven't watched it, but you know what? Good.
Yeah, no, that's what I was like, they act like, my God, why are women not doing this? And it's like, what are you people brain dead? They have babies they're trying to protect. Give me a break.
Yeah. They don't want retarded babies. Like seriously, you know, and you know what? Every single flu shot, all the MMR vaccines, say no test, and they say it. If you go to Merck.com, okay, that pharmaceutical giant's website, and you actually look at the safety, all the safety stuff they've done, they specifically say no tests have ever been done on pregnant women. Period. End of story. So that's just such a dangerous thing to do. And, I know when you put up the anti-vaxxer stuff, I love it because I know you're thinking of me, buddy. And you know what? For that, I'll get you pizza next week with my paycheck, okay?
You're very kind of you, Dwayne. And I know you're a man of your word. So next week it is, bro. I'll be watching.
I get paid Friday.
I super appreciate it, man. It's very kind of you to help. Anybody else wants to buy Moxia pizza, it's easy to do. They're clickable links underneath the video, or put them. You can go to moxnews.com. It's really easy to kick down for pizza, which is very generous of anyone who does that. And Dwayne, thank you, thank Jane for me also, please.
I will. I'll thank her personally.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, bless you, Mike.
All right, Dwayne. It's really good to hear from you, bro. Really good to hear from you. Stay cool.
Bye-bye. Yep.
Hello, caller.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, how are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Right.
We're talking about the Syrians and the Kurds today.
Yeah, that's kind of we're talking about everything. What happens on the show, but the Syria, we're talking about whether or not Turkey should be allowed to just roll into Syria and wipe out these Kurdish fighters.
Well, I don't think that Turkey is actually wiping out Kurdish forces, because the Kurds actually don't even belong in Syria to begin with. They actually, if you look at the history, going back, when we invaded Iraq, the Kurds moved out of Iraq. They fled into Syria. They set up shop in Syria, and they broke up into factions, YPP, all those little factions.
Now, this is the second time that we went into Iraq, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the Kurds don't even belong in Syria. They're there actually.
Well, I can tell you that U.S. soldiers don't belong in Syria. I know that.
No, they don't. And we only had 50 hardcore troops there to actually. Trump did the right thing. He pulled them out because look, Turkey has been wanting to go into Syria for the past 2 years. And when Turkey said, hey, enough's enough, you need to move your troops out the way, Trump, or, put your troops in harm's way. Well, Trump tried to call all these other nations to take all these ISIS fighters back, and none of them wanted them back. And so he set them loose, It's a shame, but I think Trump's right there. Other countries need to do more, and they're not playing their part.
Look, I want the U.S. out of Syria. I want the U.S. out of Iraq. I want the U.S. out of Afghanistan. I want out of fucking Japan and Korea. Okay?
Right.
And out of Africa.
I mean,
it's
a good thing that we're stationed around the world, because we put people on notice, so we don't never have a thing called Nazism anymore. I mean, if we wasn't around the world, I think people would start invading other countries, showing their dominance. I think we kind of keep people at bay. But at the same time, we don't belong over there. I mean, the people who bombed 9/11, we all know that was an inside job.
I don't know what happened on 9/11, but I know that the government's not telling me the truth about what happened on 9/11.
Yeah, they're definitely not. And I'm glad they reopened the 9/11 report for the building number 7.
They did. When did they do that?
This was a few months back. They reopened the investigation into building 7.
They did.
It totally, yeah, they reopened it.
So
they're
the
actually
government
investigating.
is currently investigating, or they did another investigation.
This is an independent. They actually took it to court. They actually opened it up back, and they're going back through it all. So they're actually, if you look it up, there's a big thing about it. But Building 7 was demoed.
Yeah.
On that day.
Right.
So,
and you can't you cannot set up a building
Yeah.
like that to be demoed in just a couple hours. So it had to have been demoed long, not necessarily long before, but before the planes ever hit those buildings.
Yeah. Yeah. So if that's the case, then everything was a sham.
Right.
Everything was set up from the beginning. So, and you can't tell me it's some person in a cave
or a mud hut
or
a mud hut.
I mean, come on, you know. I mean, I can't believe everybody's that gullible to believe something like that.
They are not that gullible. This is the problem. Is that the government just acts like they can say bullshit to us. This is what I was saying earlier. It's like the police is full of shit. The medical industrial complex is full of shit. All the politicians are full of shit. You know, all these people that we hold in high esteem that we're supposed to look to for guidance are all full of shit.
Yeah, they dumb us down with television and 8-hour workdays
and sugar.
Yeah, sugar, candy.
I've chosen to destroy my mind with sugar and cartoons, man.
And now
sugar and SpongeBob.
Now it's internet.
Yeah, the phones are like screen time is almost like a fucking lobotomy, dude. It's like a digital lobotomy.
If they keep you looking down, you'll never look up.
Good point.
Yeah,
that should be a bumper sticker. That should be a bumper sticker, but no one would ever see it.
Yeah. Well, you know, to be honest, the Kurds, they're not going to get slaughtered because, I mean, if they're there in Syria, they're going to get slaughtered no matter what. I mean, you should have seen them on TV today. They got on there and they called out every country, hey, if you don't help us, then y'all all should go to hell, pretty much.
Well, so I mean, if they were,
they're going to fight to the bloody end anyway. So
yeah. That's what they do. That's why they're such good allies. That's what I was saying about them standing by our side in Iraq and Syria. Right. You know, is that you couldn't ask for someone better to stand by your side in that kind of.
When you're born with an AK-47 in your hand, that's all you know is death. So it's pretty much it was no hope for them guys anyway. They don't even belong in Syria. They belong back in Iraq.
That doesn't mean that they deserve to have backs turned on them either, dude.
Well, you know what? What are we going to do? Stay there for 100 years?
No, what we're going to do is we're going to,
stay there.
We're going to, if they don't belong in Syria and we're going to pull out of this area where they're at that they don't belong in, then we can guide them back to wherever it is that they belong.
Hey, check this out, though. This is a good point, though. I just want to make this one point here. I'm going to give you the point and position that Trump was put in. All right. We have 50 troops there, and we had some troops monitoring the the ISIL prisoners. All right. Trump gets a phone call from Erdogan. He says, you better move your troops out of the way because I'm invading Syria. What would be your call? Like telling no?
I would be. This is what I would say in response. This is what I would say in response to that. I would say, who is this again? You don't tell me what to do with my troops.
Okay.
Click.
And then what if I invaded? What if I invaded tomorrow and your troops got killed?
Then we have a big problem with Turkey, don't we?
Yeah, but they're a NATO ally.
Well, they're the ones who attacked our troops, didn't they?
I know, but we would have nobody backing us.
We don't have anybody backing us now.
Well, I'm just.
That's what Trump keeps whining about.
Well, Trump was put in a hard position. Erdogan said, "Hey, move your troops." or we're going in and your troops are going to be put in harm's way. No matter what, we're coming in. And Trump was like, well, we don't belong over there anyway. We've been over there long enough. Let's just get out and let these people have at it because they're going to do it anyway.
But he's not getting out. He just repositioned. You know, if he was getting out, that's one thing. If he's actually bringing the troops home so they can spend Christmas with their families, that's something completely different from just moving them out of the way so that Turkey can have its way with the fucking ally of ours.
Well, they did sign a 4-year contract when you sign up for the army or military, so they're going to stay in. They're going to be repositioned, but they're not going to be in Syria.
That's what the Pentagon just did. They repositioned them in Syria out of the way of the Turkish military.
Yeah, they're not in Syria, bud.
Yes,
they
are. According to Fox News, they are.
Really?
Yes. I know that's the fake news and everything, just like CNN and everybody else. But according to Fox News, the Pentagon says no troops have been removed from Syria. They've just been repositioned.
Well, I guess just to get them out of harm's way, because I'll tell you what, Turkey was coming in full force no matter what. And we don't have... We're not going to sit there and say, hey, we're going to fight our ally. We're not going to fight our NATO partner. You know, I mean, that's kind of a hard position to be put in, man, because, you know, a life is a life.
Yeah, well, being president is not exactly an easy job. And if what happened was Erdogan gave Trump an ultimatum to get the fuck out of the way, then Trump is pretty much a nutless wonder, isn't he? With the strongest military in the world.
Well, at the same time, we've been telling them no for the past 2 and 3 years. I mean, they've been wanting to do this. This just didn't happen overnight. The Turkey's been wanting to do this for a very long time. We put it off long enough. Turkey was like, we'll just wait you out, you know?
Look, I want the troops to come home. I want them all to come home, okay? This is like, of course, it's right before the election. He's had this impeachment thing going on. He's like, oh, look, I'm fulfilling my promise now. Fucking 3.5 years into my fucking term as president.
Yeah, he's been trying to do that too, man. But you know how the military and industrial complex do you?
Yeah, no,
they want war.
They want never-ending war. That's the whole point of Iraq
and he tried to
Libya,
because he even went on TV and says, I'm pulling them out, and their generals was like, hell no, we're not. You know. And then Trump keeps getting on TV telling them we're going to pull them out. The generals have no choice but to act like they're moving them out, you know.
Well, see, but that's not what he said. He said, well, then I said I want to take the troops out, and then they said, well, we have to wait a little bit longer. And I said, okay, I'll give you a little bit longer. And then he said, I want to pull the troops out, and they said, well, we're almost done. You have to wait a little bit longer. He said, okay, I'll wait a little bit longer. And then, the fucking election's coming up. I got to pull the troops out. Fuck you, Trump. What that says is he could have done it the first time he wanted to if he wasn't a fucking nutless wonder. Okay? If he was sincere about his desire to get the troops home to their families where they belong, they would be there already instead of right before the election. During the election season, we have to make the fucking troops now into a political pawn.
Well, I'll tell you what, that wouldn't make my decision to vote for him. I mean, just pulling the troops out. I mean, he ran on that. So I mean, yeah, that is a promise. I mean, at some time he's going to have to do it.
No, the reason that people vote for Trump, the reason that they voted for him in the first place, the reason that they're going to vote for him again is because the Democrats, the Democrat elite especially, refuse to listen to the people, and they put forth these pompous elitist fucking twats who have no, who the people see and are completely repulsed by, like Hillary
Exactly.
Clinton. People hate,
Exactly.
people despise.
Mhm.
Just the sight of Hillary Clinton makes people throw up in their mouths. That's how much she's a fucking hated person. She's one of
That's true.
the most despised figures in American political history.
And
Not-
you heard what she said today. She said, "I can beat Trump again."
Yeah, I fucking posted that video last night, man. You know,
I can beat him again. I'm like, hey, man, you know, everybody's sick of you. Go away.
they were sick of her to start with, and you know, but this is what I'm saying is it's not because Trump is this good guy or a
Right.
great leader or a
Right.
tremendous president. It's because
Right.
you can't put up a decent candidate against him. You know,
Right.
if Tulsi Gabbard was to go into the debates with Donald Trump would be fucking swept up off the floor from the debates at the end of it. You know, there would be
Right.
nothing left of him. No one would vote for
Yeah.
him. But they
Yeah.
but they have to have these establishment people who are like not anti-war, who don't want to bring the troops home, who don't want to end the drug war, who are smart enough not to say, yes, of course we have to legalize heroin and cocaine. Of course we do. Otherwise, there's someone there who wants to sell them to your children. Fucking pull your head out of your ass. The drug war doesn't work.
Yeah,
you know?
never have.
And she's
But
honest
you can't
enough
do
to say
that.
that. And meanwhile, Trump is like, no, the police need more power to the police. You know?
Well, if it wasn't for police, we'd probably look just like the Middle East.
Are you kidding me, dude? You really do you not know your neighbors? Do you not know your neighbors?
Yeah, but don't you know my neighbor just broke into my car? So it's like, hey, man.
And did the police stop that from happening?
Actually, they did put a stop to it. It's actually in jail.
But they didn't stop it from happening.
No, but my gun did. My 380 did.
380. That's a girl's gun, dude.
Yeah. It is.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I used to carry a 380 when I was like 12 years old. So
yeah. That is my girl's gun, man.
I'm kidding.
That's what the funny thing was. I mean, the kids that actually did do that. I mean, I'm just saying though, the police. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of horrible policemen, little big-headed bastards. But I mean, if it wasn't for police, we would be a third world country.
It's not police.
You gotta have a rule of law.
I'm not saying, I don't think that that's true, dude. The rule of law is out of control. It's become a nanny state where it gets to tell you fucking everything you can and cannot do. And if you go outside, if you try and color outside those lines, you are going to have to deal with a fucking adrenaline junkie cop, trigger happy cop who is either in his mind is comply or die. That's what America has become.
Yeah, and I've had some policemen pull me over too before, and they were just like talk to you just like a human being, no power over their head. But the majority of them do have big heads, and they are trigger happy, and they will beat your ass over you grabbing a corn chip out of a bag, you know.
Yep.
But at the same time, hey, America's great. We got a lot of flaws. But Trump, he's an idiot. He's in the White House. But he's our president. And also, just like when Obama was in there, he was my president. I didn't like him, but he was my president. At the same time, we need to stop showing these countries that we're haters of our own authority. I mean, God put authority over people to have a good life here in America. You know, I mean, just like your mom and dad are authority figures. You gotta have authority figures, but at the same time, we shouldn't be over in these third world countries fighting other people's battles. We shouldn't be here putting our own president down. I mean, it just sets a bad example for the next generation. So,
Dude, come on. The president is the biggest bully on the internet. Okay, if anybody's setting a bad example, it's Trump. Okay,
yeah, but we can
and I agree. I agree that Obama set a horrible example also, and the president before Obama was not my president. So he didn't get elected the first time, and he didn't get elected the second time. So he was not my president or anyone's president, and he's the one who set this whole fucking shitstorm into motion.
Right, understandable. But like I'm saying, when you tell your children that's wrong, hey, you're the parent. You can tell them what's right and what's wrong. But at the same time, he is our president. Trump is, and yeah, he might say dumbass shit. He might be a big idiot, but he has helped out a lot of people. He has helped with criminal justice reform. He's done a lot, and sometimes we might not like what he says and what he does, but if we would encourage instead of putting down and trying to impeach him and cast all these demons at him, I think this country could actually start healing and becoming a better place.
Well, look,
getting rid of the hate.
I hear what you're saying, okay? Because you know what? Yeah. I don't think that Trump deserves to be impeached more than George W. Bush. George W. Bush fucking murdered 1 million innocent Iraqis.
Right.
Based on lies that were fabricated in the White House, and nobody's ever done anything about it. Fucking Ellen DeGeneres. You see this shit with Ellen DeGeneres where she's like, we may not get along, but that doesn't mean me and George W. Bush can't be friends. How about him murdering 1 million innocent Iraqis in your name, Helen? Ellen, with your tax dollars, Ellen, does that mean you can't be friends? Give me a fucking break. That's the most bunch of bullshit I ever heard in my life. Doesn't mean we can't be friends. Oh my God. The only person who could possibly say something so stupid must be a gigantic war profiteer. Fuck Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man. I totally agree with that. I mean, look, that was one crooked dude.
It's not just him. Fucking Obama deserved to be impeached. He murdered a bunch of people. Yeah. He fucking drone striked a 16-year-old boy born in fucking Colorado who went to Yemen to find out what happened to his father. And then Barack Obama, the drone king, who said that he signed off on every single drone strike, fucking drone striked a 16-year-old boy born in Colorado. And then when the fucking press asked him about it, he said that kid should have picked a better father. That was his response. Okay, Barack Obama's a giant piece of shit.
Right. And he also, and that bus full of children in Yemen too.
Well, the ones that
drone strikes.
Yeah, it's a never-ending thing. This is the problem with this authority that we have to have spread all over the world, is that there's these atrocities being committed constantly in our name with our tax dollars, fucking ruining the good name of America.
World War II was about the only justified war that I could ever see that was justified, besides the American Indians fighting back against the cowboys.
I mean, the American people didn't want anything to do with World War II, dude. They wanted nothing to do with World War II, and then the fucking again the government once again allowed an attack to happen on our shores, which made it so that we didn't have any choice but to go into the fucking bullshit
just
fucking
like
war.
Israel too, just like the 6-day war in Israel, they tried to drag us into it with the sinking of the Liberty ship.
That you know what? I will never ever forget the USS Liberty, and the people who don't know about it.
A lot of people don't know the history of that.
You know, I mean,
Israel literally bombed our American sailors to drag us into war, and our own State Department knew about it.
Yeah, they knew about it. They fucking were on the phone with them while it was happening.
Yep. And the survivors were told to shut their mouth.
So again, and this comes back to this thing that I keep saying about this is why people are so fucked up right now, is because all the people that we're supposed to trust, all the people we're supposed to believe in, all the people that we're supposed to put our faith in, you know, fucking priest, fucking, you know, all the authority figures are just slimy fucking cunts who see our freedom as somehow a detriment to them, you know. And that's why we have to get beyond these fucking idiotic labels. We have to move beyond this and all come together so that we can take our world back from this this police state, because it's a fucking prison planet, and I've had enough, you know. It can't get worse than this.
When somebody starts running on love, that's when the world will be a better place.
What's your name?
Gotta love. My name's Rob.
Hey, Rob. I get it right, Rob?
Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
All right, Rob. Thanks for calling. Have you called before?
No, sir. It's first time.
Right on. Well, I hope you call back again, Rob.
Yes, sir. Good conversation, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for calling. Ah, man, I get fucking worked up here. So, you guys think you guys want to do so you guys think 6 p.m. is not too late for for a regular call-in show then? 6 p.m. is the time to go. Is that what you're saying? Because it sounds like 6 p.m. is the right time, as far as I can tell, what you guys are saying. Anyways, I thought this was a pretty good show. I'm glad to hear from Dwayne. Glad to see Mark in the fucking comments. Glad to see all of you guys. It's so nice when it's always nicer when you guys are here, you know. And you call. It's always nicer when you're here and you call. Hello, caller.
Hello, Mark. How are you tonight?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I was listening to this conversation, and, you know, the Kurdistan, there's 30 million people, and they've been in the historical records since like 3000 BC, and they're spread out over 4 countries, and they've been there forever. They didn't
including Syria, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they were in Turkey, northern Syria, Iraq, and Iran, before those places were even countries.
Right.
They've been there for eternity. It's where they're from.
Yeah.
Right? And they're the largest stateless people in the world. And that's really the problem here. They're spread out over these 4 countries, and these 4 countries don't want to give them autonomy, and therefore that they persecute these people, and they use, and then the great powers use these people as pawns in their geopolitical game. Pretty clear that's what's happening.
It seems like they've just got the short end of the stick for a long, long time, especially as far as what you're saying.
Yeah, well, people can just do a quick Wikipedia search and type up the Sykes-Picot. It's called the Sykes-Picot Agreement, and it was created after World War I. And that's when the European elites just like carved up the area, their former like, colonial possessions, made these countries and gave them legitimacy. But unfortunately, when they created these countries, they didn't look at the ethnic groups that exist in these countries, and they intentionally created divisions among these people to empower other people. You know, so like in Syria, there's Christian Druze, and there's Arabs, and there's Sunni Arabs, and then there's also there's Kurds, and there's other ethnic groups. There's many other ethnic groups, but the Arabs control the government, and they suppress other ethnic groups, and this created the tension right up to the 2011 Arab Spring, the uprising that was sponsored by the State Department of the United States.
Yeah.
Do you remember that General Wesley Clark guy?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You remember after 9/11, he mentioned that the United States was going to go to war and overthrow 7 countries. I think he said that like in 2001. It was Iraq, Iran, Syria, North Korea, and there were a couple of other countries, but Syria was on that list.
Yeah, I don't remember him saying that, but I've heard many people say that exact thing many times.
Yeah, you can find it really quickly by just Googling "democracy now" Wesley Clark 7 countries, and you'll find the exact place where he said that on a stage. But the fact that the U.S. government wanted to overthrow these countries, they've been intentionally doing it. That's what the Iraq War was. That they knew they were going to invade Iraq before the events of 9/11, and 9/11 gave them a reason to invade Iraq.
An excuse. Right? An excuse.
Correct. An excuse to take out a country that they had already targeted and planned, way ahead of time what their intentions were.
Yeah.
Syria is the same program. It's the same programming, and they've used the CIA to fund ISIS in Syria, which are Arabs who have more of a fundamentalist orientation. They funded those people. Then also the U.S. Army and military folks in the U.S. gave aid to the Kurds so that they could participate in an uprising. The National Endowment for Democracy through the State Department funded the actual initial protest that started the dissolution of Syria, their civil war. So we basically destabilized this country. We bombed the country in violation of international law. Israel bombed the country on numerous occasions in violation of international law. So it's a kind of a mess, but I don't think we should be there, right? There's no reason why the United States or our troops should retain some presence as though we're the ones who can tell other people around the world what to do. What do you think about that, Max?
I don't think we should be there. I don't think we should be in Afghanistan. I don't think we should be in Japan. I don't think we should be even telling people what should be happening, like in China, the Sea of China or the Sea of Japan. Like we keep making a big bluster about what China's doing over where in their fucking backyard. China should be able to do what they want to do in their backyard. But I also don't think that we should just because Turkey gives an ultimatum that says, yeah, either you get the fuck out of the way or your guys are going to get blasted. I don't think that we should get the fuck out of the way for Turkey.
No, there is a solution to this, right? If we actually abided by international law, the United Nations Charter, which says that one country can't invade another country or enter another country's territory because that's a violation of the rules. And the United Nations Security Council, because the 5 European countries who are on the UN Security Council asked for this to happen, there's going to be a Security Council meeting in the next couple of days about what's happening with Turkey crossing the border into Syria. And what the Americans could do, what the United States, one of the 5 permanent members of the UN, Security Council could do, is they could say Turkey's invasion of Syria is a violation of international law.
Right.
And if Turkey doesn't remove its forces from Syria, then there will be not just economic repercussions, but maybe a blockade around the country, or like maybe they'll get kicked out of NATO, or they'll never have an opportunity to ever join the EU. Things like that. Some kind of repercussions. That could all be orchestrated through the UN. And at this moment in time, the Russians and the Europeans, that would be the French and the English, the UK, they all are on board, right?
But
So
the United States has never acted like that's how they want the UN to operate.
Right, exactly. Which brings up your point when you said, yes, Iran war on the last caller. And I think that's what this is. And I think it's a response to what happened in Saudi Arabia just about a month ago when that Aramco facility was hit. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
In Yemen?
Yeah,
right?
of course I do. I applauded. I went out and danced in the streets when that happened.
Wow. Well, when that happened, something clicked in the minds of people in Washington, D.C., and that was the reality check that asymmetrical warfare is real. And what that means is that people in Yemen, not the Iranians, because they probably didn't do it, and there's no evidence.
The Iranians didn't do it. The Iranians didn't do it.
The Yemenis did it. The Yemenis, they did it themselves. Exactly. So
the Saudis did it. The Saudis did it themselves.
Well, people in Saudi Arabia who were sympathetic to the Yemenis' cause might have done it, right?
Well, I mean, look, to be able to get through all these billions of dollars of defense systems that the United States, state-of-the-art defense systems, and all that fucking, that bullshit.
It doesn't work. What happened is that they used drones that fly really low, and then they used like small missiles that also aren't really flying high, and they're close to their targets and they go fast, and they were successful. They disabled the largest oil facility in the world, something like that, very quickly.
Right, and who benefits from that though? The fucking Saudis benefit from it because then they can bulldoze anyone.
Iranians benefit.
I don't think so.
The Iranians do. Well,
because all that I saw was Iran was vilified over and over again in the press by pretty much the entire world.
It doesn't matter because they have a military deterrent right now, and it's this: the Persian Gulf. Those ships in the Persian Gulf are vulnerable to missile attacks because they're so close to the Iranian shore.
Yeah,
and also all of the oil facilities in Saudi Arabia and the other kingdoms in the region are now vulnerable to very simple technology that anyone can use. Therefore, there's no way that the American government can legitimately go to war with Iran without incurring big losses. But the Americans can't.
But it's been that way for a long time, and most Americans don't realize the force that they're up against in Iran. It's an fucking military. It's not like Saddam Hussein.
It's a legitimate adversary. They will protect their interests, and they can protect their interests.
And they have people all over the world, too.
Right. So those Kurds in Syria who are experiencing the wrath of the Turkish government of Erdogan tonight, they also can create instability in Iraq and in Iran and in Turkey. So the Kurds can be used to destabilize these other areas. And those areas are right on the Iranian border. So by creating instability in Syria, it creates instability in other parts of northern Iraq and on the border of Iran. So it's a tactical ploy. If he moves out, if Trump moves the troops out, and the Turkish army, moves the Syrian refugees from Turkey into the area in northeast Syria, and the Kurds are affected as they are, then that will create instability in Iraq, which is a Shia country aligned more or less with Iran, and in Iran. So it puts pressure on Iran. That's what I mean. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think there's pretty much a maximum pressure campaign on Iran already. It probably would put a little bit extra pressure on Iran, but when you have maximum pressure already, a little bit extra doesn't seem like that big a deal. I think that like you said, well, like we both said, Iran is no paper tiger, and the minute a war in Iran starts, it's going to be a very long, hard-fought war, and it's and anybody that's not completely insane doesn't want something like that.
Oh, no. So, but that war could easily start, right? Because I've been looking at some alternate news sources here before I called you. And I would encourage your viewers to visit just to get the other perspective, right? You need to look at different perspectives to understand what's happening. But there's a website called the Syrian Arab News Agency, based out of Syria. And they have several articles talking about how their government is not happy, and then they're going to resist the Turkish aggression. The lead article says Syria affirms determination to confront Turkish aggression by all legitimate means. That's like their state news agency. And then another one is Press TV, which is Iranian television. I think you might have broadcast.
Oh, Press TV, sure.
Yeah, that's a source that people can go to look at things besides like CNN or Fox News. They get a different perspective.
They played Mox news clips on their news before too.
Yeah, that's so cool. And then the other one is Al Jazeera, and Al Jazeera has a really great article up right now called Turkey-Syria border, all of the latest updates. And it just is about 15 pages of just updates showing in the last 3 days how these events have unfolded.
Yeah,
for people who are curious about.
Al Jazeera is pretty good news. Al Jazeera is pretty good news usually.
And then just to get a completely different perspective, I went to the Jerusalem Post, and the Jerusalem Post, interestingly enough, did not have a lot of coverage about this. But they did have, they were focused on the synagogue shootings in Germany, but they did have one article, well, here he goes, it says, Kurds are the evangelicals of the Muslim world. And then there was another article that said, it was basically saying that they were praying for the Kurds, but they were very sympathetic to them. And part of the reason that is because Israel gives aid to the Kurds in Iraq, to try and develop an independent Kurdistan, maybe like a source of oil for Israel in the greater project of Israel, how they want to have more economic dominance in the area. That's interesting, I think.
No doubt.
Yeah, so that's basically the few things I wanted to share. Asymmetrical warfare and how that, I think that is going to change things, Mox, because even in a traditional battlefield, I don't know if we have defenses for something as simple as drones that can hit like air bases or groups of troops scattered in a battlefield. Drones, I think.
Well, that's one
are a game changer.
That's one of my big fears is that China has these. If I was the leader of China, I'd have factories. I'd have a whole region that was just dedicated to making drones, and I'd fucking have a way to fucking build fucking giant ships that could carry like thousands of drones and just fucking launch drones all fucking day long, man. And that's a problem. I'm telling you, you're right about that. That's something that is going to be a difficult one to fight against.
And isn't that kind of crazy considering the amount of money? Like you talked about the Patriot missile defense system that Saudi Arabia bought that was supposed to defend it from defend their oil facilities, and it was ineffective. So the millions and millions and millions of dollars that Saudi Arabia spent, and that U.S. workers made, money off of, and that the big company made lots of money off of, all of that was for naught because it didn't even work.
Again, I'm kind of somewhat convinced that it didn't work because it was an inside job and it wasn't supposed to work. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I hear everything you're saying about the drones and small missiles, and I get it. But I still.
Who is the responsible party? Do you think that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia destroyed their oil facility for like 3 months to try and get sympathy?
No, to try and
Okay.
number one, to try and raise the price of oil, of course. Number two, to get a big fat insurance check. And number three, to have the green light to vilify Iran even more and to go ahead and fucking bulldoze Yemen even more, of course.
It's possible, but it also, if you believe that's true, it takes legitimacy away from the Yemenis resistance, right? Who are fighting against this power that has many more resources than they do and greater military technology.
But it takes how does it take it away from them?
Well, it's implying that the Saudi government itself was responsible for the attack, but the Houthis in Yemen claimed responsibility for it.
Right. Okay. So, but you know that the Houthis claimed responsibility simply because of some kind of a fake news media report. It's not because you saw the Houthis actually claim responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess that's debatable. I'd have to look at some evidence.
Right. Well, I'm not saying that it was fake news. I'm just saying that because the Pentagon says something is true doesn't necessarily mean that it's true.
Which is the reason why your viewers should always double check with like Press TV or with Syrian news or with a European news source or an Asian news source, so that they can get a different perspective on their news.
Right. I agree. The more you don't want the more, because there's so much news out there right now, and so much is just opinion. But when you can find a service that's actually, information, they're telling you bits of information that you might not gather otherwise. That's something to try and listen to, not just these opinion people like Sean Hannity.
Well, I consider the New York Times and the Washington Post to be stenographers for the State Department and the U.S. government.
Yeah.
The government said something, and then the reporter reads what was given to the person.
Right. That's
she said.
I said that almost verbatim earlier.
Yeah, but even though they are stenographers of power, that doesn't mean that there aren't other policy positions in the world that people should pay attention to. And that's why you would go to Syrian state news or Iranian state news to see literally the exact opposite of what you've just seen. And then you can use your own critical thinking skills, right? Look at the quality of the evidence. Is it real? Is it true? Do you believe it? Yada, yada.
That's
anyway.
It's important to have other sources. There's just no doubt about it,
Right. Well, thanks for the time.
Okay, man. I really appreciate you calling.
I appreciate your call-in program and hearing different perspectives, and the fact that you post such interesting videos. So thank you.
Okay. Well, I hope we'll hear back from you again soon. Stay cool.
Hopefully. Thank you. Bye.
So, and I'm just guessing at this whole inside job Saudi Arabia thing. It just, when I see these things, the first thing you have to ask yourself is who benefits, right? And clearly this doesn't hurt Saudi Arabia in any way. The price of oil goes up. There's an oil glut right now, so they don't need to keep pumping more oil barrels out of the ground. They got plenty of them. There's an oil glut in the world. The world is using less and less oil, from what I understand, and we're producing more and more of it. And so the price goes up. So they got all this oil now that was, yesterday worth less. Now it's worth more. And they get a big fat insurance check, and they got a green light to go attack Iran. Nobody could say a word if they fucking retaliated against this horrible, horrible terrorist attack by Iran, instigated by Iran. Iran. And of course we need to go and this is the reason that we slaughter and murder busloads of school children, because otherwise they're going to attack our oil refineries. We have to bomb the busloads of school children. How can you question us when this is happening in our backyard? You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just gives them the green light. You have to ask, who benefits from something like this, and again, like I said, when I hear that Saudi Arabia is attacked, I kind of yay, 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 yay. Where's that coming from?
Hello,
Hello?
Michael.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
How is the harvest doing?
The harvest is good, my brother. I actually I want to start some new plants so we can have some background for the live show in the beautiful Gorilla Grow tent, and then we can actually have some Christmas trees for Christmas. I'll hang ornaments on them and everything. But I got to.
You could even use the plants as a green screen.
I could probably, huh? But I need dirt.
Okay.
I don't have any dirt, so I need dirt.
About your question, what was it again? I got that sidetracked.
Turkey, Kurds.
Turkey and the Kurds. Okay. Now this has been going on for a couple hundred years, I assume.
Look, I know what's happened in my lifetime. Anything else, as far as I'm concerned, is some made up bullshit that some fucking, bullshit historian wants to fucking try and tell me what's happened.
A bit like the Bible, yeah. So, I mean, since your lifetime, has this been a problem?
What?
Since you've been alive, have they always been confrontational?
Turkey
And the Kurds.
Pretty much. From what I know, from what I remember, the Kurds and Turkey have never been good friends.
And what would you say, like, the outer influence would be to escalate things?
Well, we destabilized the entire region. So now everybody's on edge, and everybody's building up these massive militaries with massive amounts of weapons, and
corruption.
Yeah. And the military industrial complex makes lots of money, every time there's one of every time one of these little skirmishes lights up, and so it's
curing cancer doesn't make money.
Yeah, which is why marijuana is not legal.
Yeah. So it just seems like a lot of people are trying to make a bunch of money off of innocent people, and not much we can do about it, I don't think.
Well, there's not much we can do about it, except for realize that this is not, that we want things to be a different way, and that we can come together, and that we can make things be a different way.
Well, who is we?
We is all of us.
Like, the whole world?
Yeah, the whole world. Because right now all of us could be right here in this chat room right now talking the whole fucking world and deciding what it is that we want.
Yes, that's why I agree with open borders.
Yeah, I don't know about open borders.
About that earlier.
Yeah,
we have different opinions on that.
Yeah, I see that we have to move beyond all these little issues and decide, together what the big issues are. Because from what I understand, the way I understand things is that we're on the verge of a giant mass extinction. And if we are the big brained, top of the food chain, keepers of this paradise, then it is up to us to move beyond all these little petty fucking issues that are our personal fucking shit, and decide what it is we have to make happen in order for there to be a better tomorrow for all of us.
Capitalism and greed and all that stuff, and and just manipulation. Anyway,
you know, I think we're screwed. So
Well, hopefully, you know, I mean, I personally, I would say I don't care because I don't have children. I don't have anything, you know, I'm not leaving behind a legacy that I have to worry about what it is that I'm leaving behind, you know.
okay, that's cool.
But,
That's cool.
but I
Yeah,
do
that's what I
care.
said. I walk around Walmart and see these small kids, and I feel so bad for them.
Well,
You know?
I don't
I'm
feel
like,
bad for him.
wow.
I don't feel bad for him. But I do care because I don't want, you know, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be part of this whole thing that was like I didn't care when everything was going to shit, even though it really didn't matter to my future, my personal future. It doesn't matter, but
Yeah,
I don't want to
it
be
doesn't
just
mean
somebody who doesn't care about all the other people that it does matter to, you know.
I probably won't be calling if I can get this kid, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to take up too much more of the time or the audience's time. So.
All right. What's your
I
name?
don't know how to solve it. I don't know how to solve it. Personally.
We're doing it. Look, we're doing
I
it.
think it's none of our business, really. I guess. I mean, I don't know.
It's okay. We're gonna do this. It's just a matter of
It's just so much information overload going on. You know.
Well, people
overwhelming.
People need to put down their phones and look around at, you know, the world because that's what's important. The phone doesn't matter. What matters is what's right in front. All the other things, all the other amazing things that are going on around you.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great talking to you.
All right, bro. It's good to hear from you. Thanks for calling.
All right. Good luck, bro.
All right, so nobody has given a donation so far. I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you guys know, you know, I'm upholding my part of the bargain. And I don't know. I'm just saying I really want to buy some dirt so that I can put some beautiful Christmas trees in the background of our call-in shows for the upcoming holiday season. That's all I'm saying. I'd really like to have some lovely Christmas trees that we can put the little decorative, you know, holiday ornaments out on, and maybe some tinsel. No tinsel. And you know, maybe some lights, some little blinky lights or something. And we'll have these lovely little Christmas trees in the background of our call-in show. And I think that would be a really cool thing. But I need dirt. I know what it means to be dirt poor now. I know what the saying means, dirt poor. So here's what the saying dirt poor means. The saying dirt poor means I would grow my own food, but I can't afford dirt. I figured that out because I can't afford dirt. So I would grow my own, but I can't afford dirt. So if anybody wants to help out with that, I need like 3 bags of dirt. So, and some pH down. If I had 3 bags of dirt and pH down, I would be starting Christmas trees tomorrow. Okay? And it's easy to help me buy dirt. So you can go to moxnews.com and leave a donation there, or there's clickable links below this video. In the chat room, there's all kinds of clickable links that say GoFundMe, Patrone, PayPal, take your pick. And then we'll get some nice Christmas trees growing for the holiday season. Wouldn't that be beautiful, though? Wouldn't you like to have Christmas trees growing in the background? I sure would. I sure would. I think that would be very, very nice. And the only reason I'm asking you is because I want to start it right away so that we actually do have Christmas trees during the holiday season, as opposed to waiting for another 2 weeks while I go out and find a dirt sponsor, so that we can have, because then we won't have Christmas trees until after the new year. But that'll be cool too. I'll be good with that too. Either way, I just thought it'd be nice if we could have some Christmas trees for the holiday season. Don't you know? Nice, lovely, beautiful, living Christmas trees. Did you know that an acre of cannabis pulls as much carbon out of the air as an acre of old growth forest? Did you know that? All right. So I guess we're done. We've got 2 hours on this one. Let's say hi to some friends. Hi, friends. It's good to see you. It's always nicer when you're here. So again, no one gave a donation. It's not that I expect you to run over and give a donation. I'm just letting you know that I'm not raking in donations hand and fist, and that's the only reason I come out here is to get donations. But I have to ask because otherwise, you know, Mox News won't survive. Mox News survives solely on donations from good people like you. If you don't give something back, then no one will. Trust me. I've been doing this a long time. Many of you know this. I've been doing this a long time. And you can believe it when I say, if you don't give something back, then no one will. Because no one has. Still no one. Still no one. Checking, checking, checking. Still no one. All right. Anybody else want to call? I'm going to give you a countdown. You have 60 seconds starting now. It's 805 Mox News or 805-669-6397. Just in case anybody wants to call. Otherwise, it is time for me to do something that I'm not sure. 30 seconds left. 25 seconds. 20 seconds. So thanks very much to everybody tuning in. Again, the reason that we're doing this is because YouTube is being horrible, censoring people's comments. I think this is a way that we can sidestep the YouTube. When we do this on the call-in, there's not so much anger. People, you know, communicate. People are friendly. You know, it's not this big chip on my shoulder that, you know, I'm waiting for somebody to knock off so I can fucking lay into them. You know, and I think that that's a beautiful thing, and I think that that's this is only going to get better if we continue to make it happen on a regular basis. So people are saying 6 p.m. I'm thinking maybe 6 p.m. 6 p.m. might be right. So we'll probably do it tomorrow between 5:30 and 6 p.m. Okay, so tomorrow, 5:30, 6 p.m., we'll be out here taking phone calls and talking about whatever the issue of the day is so that you can have your voice heard if you actually want to on YouTube without censorship. Because that's what Mox News has always been about from day one, your voice not being censored. So you know. Okay, still no donations, no contributions. Mox News survives solely on contributions from good people like you, although not today. So if you'd like to leave a contribution, it's easy to do. There are clickable links in the text body of this video, or you can go to moxnews.com and there are links there. Should take less than 2 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. It's always nicer when you are here. We will do this again tomorrow night and every night, 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, starting Monday. Okay? So stay cool. One of these days, this war is going to end. Got to end one of these days. Got to. It's got to. Stay cool until that day.